Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of gangland London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to county lines and modern-day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
Week we take you deep into the British underworld, where encrypted phones, double lives and dark deals shape the hidden reality behind our streets. If you're into hard-hitting true crime stories and underworld investigations, do us a favour. Hit like, drop a comment, subscribe and share this video. That's the best way to help us grow and keep these stories coming. Now let's get into today's case. A Liverpool man, a father, a taxi driver and a prolific drug trafficker was recently jailed for 12 years. Rudi Caldwell, 37 years, of Linbank Road in Calderstones, was charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A controlled drugs and conspiracy to supply Class B controlled drugs. Caldwell was remanded into custody and appeared at Liverpool Magistrates Court on Wednesday. The charge forms part of the Merseyside police response to Operation Venetic, a national investigation into the use of encrypted mobile devices, commonly referred to as EncroChat. He went by the handle BoxBat on a supposedly secure platform used by the criminal elite, EncroChat. EncroChat was a Europe-based communications network and service provider used primarily by organised crime members to plan criminal activities. Police infiltrated the network between at least March and June 2020 during a Europe-wide investigation. Authorities described the breach as one of the most significant digital wiretaps in European criminal justice history. Every message typed on those phones was being silently copied and stored by investigators. An unidentified source associated with EncroChat announced on the night of 12 June 2020 that the company would cease operations because of the police operation. The service had around 60,000 subscribers at the time of its closure. At least 1,000 arrests have been made across Europe as of 22nd of December 2020. So how did police track him down? Simple. He sent a photo of his own driveway. This is the rise and fall of Rudi Caldwell, a man undone by his own messages on a network he thought was unbreakable. Rudi Caldwell was a 37-year-old father from Linbank Road in Calderstones, Liverpool. On the surface, he lived a normal life. A licensed taxi driver, providing for his family. But beneath the surface, Caldwell was a key figure in a well-connected criminal enterprise, one that was deeply involved in trafficking heroin, cocaine, and cannabis across Merseyside. Using an encrypted EncroChat handle, BoxBat, he communicated with associates, planned drug shipments, and even floated ideas for a hidden underground drug factory. He wasn't at the very top of the food chain, but he was no street-level dealer either. Caldwell was a facilitator, a trusted middleman who could move product, organise deals and make connections. He operated like a broker in the underworld, linking supply to demand, coordinating bulk deliveries and negotiating deals with coded messages and digital trust. For years, EncroChat was the go-to network for organised criminals across Europe. With around 60,000 subscribers, this encrypted phone system offered total privacy, or so they thought. Unknown to users, the network had been compromised. Between March and June 2020, French police successfully hacked into the system. They accessed tens of thousands of messages in real time, exposing the secret world of drug trafficking, money laundering and violent crime. On June 12, 2020, an anonymous notice appeared to EncroChat users: "We can no longer guarantee security." But the fallout was just beginning. In the UK, the takedown became known as Operation Venetic, a national effort to identify and arrest those using EncroChat to plan criminal activity. And among those now in the crosshairs was BoxBat. Caldwell made 3 crucial mistakes. First, he used his own child's name in messages. Second, he sent a photo of the view from his home's CCTV system. And third, he shared a picture of his driveway. All of it linked him directly to the BoxBat handle. What's more, he discussed his taxi business on the platform, giving investigators even more breadcrumbs to follow. In one exchange, he told a partner using the name Bon Bat, "Let's get busy, mate. I'm ready now. Selling up. All in." They weren't just talking theory. Caldwell and his associates were sourcing and distributing kilogram quantities of heroin, cocaine, and cannabis. The court would later hear he was involved in the trafficking of 16 kilograms of cocaine, 2 kilograms of heroin, 14 kilograms of cannabis, all before the network was exposed. And these weren't one-off deals. They were part of an ongoing supply chain. The quantities moved and the language used in chats made it clear this was a professional, repeated operation. He even discussed attacking a rival dealer and stealing his stock. On another occasion, he spoke about buying a bungalow specifically to use the greenhouse for cannabis cultivation, and floated ideas for an underground drugs lab using metal containers. Caldwell wasn't arrested immediately after the EncroChat hack. In fact, it would be 3 years later, on April 29, 2023, when police finally knocked on his door. Inside his Liverpool home, officers seized 2 Rolex watches, a symbol of wealth, now confiscated evidence. He was quiet, stunned. His criminal past had finally caught up with him, not with a bang, but with a knock and a warrant. At Liverpool Crown Court, Caldwell appeared via video link from HMP Liverpool wearing a purple polo shirt. He showed no emotion as the charges were read out. Conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. Conspiracy to supply Class B drugs. He pleaded guilty to all charges. Sarah Holt, prosecuting, described how the defendant was shown discussing the purchase of a bungalow with the user Rock Forever on March 30th, 2020, having planned to use a greenhouse in the garden in order to grow cannabis. The 2 men later floated the possibility of setting up a production facility using underground metal containers. During sentencing, his barrister, Julian Nutter, argued that Caldwell wasn't a kingpin, but a fixer. A man trying to talk his way into deals, not someone running the show. There is an element of market stall here, he told the court. This is not a big-time operation. This is a smooth operator trying to get a cut. He also described Caldwell as being eaten up by remorse, saying, every day he spends in prison is torture, not just for him, but for his partner and children. He brought this upon himself. He is 37 and of effective good character. He has put himself on courses. He has got jobs in prison. He has made the extra effort that is recorded by prison staff. That must give some encouragement that, when he has served the undoubtedly lengthy sentence Your Honour will give him today, he will put this behind him and never trouble the courts again. Judge Louise Brandon acknowledged his remorse and the efforts he'd made in prison to rehabilitate, including work and educational courses. But the verdict was clear. He has done everything in his power to justify the proposition that he has genuine remorse. That remorse eats away at him because every day that he is away from his family, he is well aware of what his partner is going through. Every day he spends in prison is a torture and an extra punishment to him, and of course to his partner, he having put her in that position in the first place. He has brought this upon himself. He has been put down, essentially, as a middleman, someone who is a fixer of deals. It appears that Boxbat is subordinate to Bonbat in some way. There is an element of the market stall here. There is an element of bigging things up, and I can get you anything you want. It is someone, essentially, trying to banter his way through things. This is not the big stuff. This really is not a big-time operation. This is a smooth operator trying to talk his way into other people's deals and getting himself a cut. There appears to be somebody up the tree from him. Caldwell admitted conspiracy to supply heroin, cocaine, and cannabis. Appearing via video linked to HMP Liverpool wearing a purple polo shirt, he showed no reaction as he was jailed for 12 years. You contributed to the degradation and human misery which drugs cause, she said. While not at the top of the hierarchy, your involvement was critical to the smooth running of this operation. While you have previous convictions, you have no like offences with that for which you fall to be sentenced. I have read the letter that you have written to the court, in which you set out your remorse and the shame that you feel for the position you have put your partner and children in. You have obtained work in custody. I have read many reports about how well you are doing, and how you wish to remain offence-free when you are released, so that your children do not have to witness their father going in and out of prison. You have contributed to the degradation and human misery which drugs cause to those who take them, their families, and to the wider community, which is affected by the crimes which are committed in order to fuel addiction. You were involved in buying and selling drugs on a commercial scale and had substantial links to others in the chain. You are described as a facilitator and a key intermediary. While you do not appear to be at the top of the hierarchy, your involvement was critical to the smooth running of the operation. Caldwell was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Caldwell's case is just one chapter in a much larger book. As of mid-2025, 180 individuals in Merseyside alone have been jailed thanks to Operation Venetic, with a combined total of 2,261 years in prison time. Detective Inspector James Boardman commented, "Caldwell is just the latest person to be brought to justice. Our investigation identified him through personal details, his child's name, his CCTV setup, and his photos. Our work continues, and we ask the public to keep supporting our efforts against this kind of criminality." In the end, Rudi Caldwell wasn't brought down by violence or a snitch or a rival gang. He was brought down by his own words, his own pictures, his own digital footprint. Boxbat thought he was untouchable, encrypted, invisible. But in this new era of policing, no one is truly off the grid. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, drop a like, share it, and subscribe for more deep dives into Britain's criminal underworld. Until next time, stay safe and stay sharp.